Good evening. Before we get started with tonight's meeting, our board clerk will be swearing in one of our new board members, Mr. Hankins. I'm sorry. Thank you. Two new board members, a new incoming board member, Dan Schoof, and a returning board member, Carol Fox. And if you guys could join Mr. Hankins at the podium.
Just for the people at home and in the audience, that Bill Johnson is not here with us. It was predestined he was going to be somewhere else. And just a brief overview, Bill is filling a 2-year role, not the normal 3-year, because he is picking up Juan's 2 years that are left on his, just to make that clear. And I just want to express that. But anyways, so we'll do one at a time. Ms. Fox. Ready? Yeah. I, having been elected to the office of school board member,
Have been elected to the office of school board member.
swear that I will support
Swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Mr. Schoof. I,
Dan Schoof,
having been elected to the office of school board member,
having been elected to the office of school board member,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office to
to the best of my ability.
the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Good evening. It is 6:05. I am calling to order the regular board meeting of Tuesday, April 21st. Mrs. Shope, are you ready? Okay. When you're ready, a roll call, please.
Carol Fox,
Here.
Megan Miller,
Present.
Brian Nichols,
Here.
Tom Hankins,
Here.
Joanne Rue,
Here.
and Amy Levy,
Here.
and Board President Tia Johnson.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. May I get an approval of the agenda, and I'm requesting removal of 7B Medicaid billing software, as it did not move out of committee because there was more information requested.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Amy Levy. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Tonight, we have the honor of having Dean of Students Mitchell Christman here to introduce the Hackett Hawks, the Girls on the Run program, and they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Christman.
There it goes. All right, so we have 4 girls with us today. We have Kiki, we have Oakley, we have Lily, and we have Janaea. They are 4 of our 19 girls on our Girls on the Run team. We have 6 coaches, and these 4 tried their best, and they ran laps around our playground today. I heard somebody got 18. So every practice, our goal is to do a little better than last time. And so we're working on it. We've had 3 practices. We've got 7 left to go, and then at the end of our practice in May, we'll go up to Verona for a 5K run. So they're all looking forward to that. Ready?
Please stand.
Let's say it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Chrisman, and our Girls on the Run team. We really appreciate you being here tonight, and with all that practice, you probably have run off enough calories to have a piece of cake next door. So help yourself to a piece of cake. Next item is the President Board Report. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. We sincerely appreciate your continued interest in and support of the School District of Beloit. Since our last regular board meeting, board members have engaged with staff and community members to listen to their concerns and gather input regarding the 2026-2027 budget. We are grateful for the opportunity to participate in small group discussions and to better understand the direct impact that proposed reductions may have on both staff and students. On Tuesday, April 14th, the board held a budget workshop. During this session, Board Member Carol Fox presented a document outlining the board's priorities and guidance for the development of the upcoming budget. We are hopeful that we will be able to bring this process and move this document forward. Ms. Fox and I also attended a meeting with district administrators to hear their recommendations and creative ideas for streamlining the budget. We appreciate the time and thoughtful input shared by all, particularly around strategies that support student success and foster a positive work environment. The more informed the board is, the stronger our decisions will be. Last Thursday, board members were invited to attend Aldridge Middle School Expo Night. Events like this highlight the impressive work of our students, the dedication of our educators, and the strong partnerships we have with local agencies that provide additional services and opportunities for our students and family. A special thanks to Principal Joe Vrydox for the invitation and warm hospitality. It was an evening filled with positive connections and a strong sense of community. And we all really appreciated the Pie by Sophia's restaurant. It's never too early to plan ahead and reserve your spot for the second annual Academies of Beloit Golfing outing, which will be held Thursday, June 11th at the Glen Erin Golf Club. Proceeds from this event directly support our students and enhance their academy experiences. For more information, please contact Beloit Memorial High School Principal Emily Pels or Career Academy Coach Brian Michaels. As this board's term comes to a close, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my fellow board members for your dedication and the many contributions you have made to the School District of Beloit. It has been an honor to serve alongside you, and I will always value the time we have shared. I am confident that we will all continue to support and uplift our students, families, and community, ensuring that everyone feels welcomed and valued in our schools. Looking ahead, we remain hopeful for the future. Implementing sustainable positive change is a long and often challenging process. This work must be carried forward from one board to the next with a shared commitment to upholding board policies and maintaining a steadfast focus on ensuring successful academic achievement for all students. This concludes my report. Thank you. Next, we have upcoming events and announcements. Board Clerk Hankins.
Thank you. Good evening. These are the announcements for Tuesday, April 21, 2026. Tonight, just prior to this meeting, we enjoyed a reception for our board members who will be leaving us at the end of April, Amy Levy and Brian Nichols, and to welcome those who were elected and re-elected to the board, Carol Fox, Bill Johnson, and Dan Schoof. A big thanks to Amy and Brian for all your years of service. Saturday, April 25, Gaston will be having an elementary school carnival from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be games, prizes, and more. If you are able to volunteer, please contact the PTO team at 361-2300, as volunteers may still be needed. The Quarter Century Club banquet is being held this year on Wednesday, April 29th, beginning at 5 p.m. This banquet will induct 20 new employees who have served the district for 25 years and celebrate others who have come before them. We want to congratulate and thank the new inductees for their years of service to the students and families in the school district of Beloit. Beloit Memorial High School will proudly celebrate its 2026 Hall of Fame recipient on Friday, May 8th at 1 p.m. This year's honoree is Tracy Piazza Solidaire, a distinguished graduate from the class of 1992. Congratulations, Tracy. Will your child be 4 years old on or before September 1, 2026? If the answer is yes, then your child is eligible to enroll in the School District of Beloit 4K program. Come on into the Colac Education Center to enroll your student or enroll your student online at beloitschools.net. Don't delay, enroll today. Upcoming meetings being held at the Colac Education Center include Monday, April 27th, search firm interviews at 5 p.m. Thursday, April 30th, board organizational meeting at 5 p.m. Thursday, April 30th, ad hoc student success and support committee meeting at 6 p.m. Saturday, May 2nd, board on-board workshop at 9 a.m. Monday, May 4th, policy and HR meeting at 4 p.m. Monday, May 4th, search firm interviews at 5 p.m. Tuesday, May 5th, business operations and finance committee meeting at 5 p.m., followed by the regular board meeting at 6 p.m. This concludes the announcements for tonight. And if Mr. Schoof or Bill Johnson out in Vegas, if that didn't scare you, it should a little bit. And welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. Next up, we have recognitions, and tonight I have the honor of recognizing two of our board members, Mrs. Amy Levy and Mr. Brian Nichols. Mrs. Levy, tonight we take a moment to recognize and thank a dedicated public servant, Mrs. Amy Levy, for her 6 years of service to our Board of Education. Mrs. Levy has served 2 full terms, contributing her time, energy, and expertise to the important work of this district. Throughout her tenure, she has been an active and engaged member of both the Policy Committee and the Business Operations and Finance Committee, 2 areas that require diligence, focus, and a deep understanding of how decisions impact our students, staff, and community. In addition to her work at the district level, Mrs. Levy has also served as our representative of the Wisconsin Association of School Boards, WASB. In that role, she has extended her impact beyond our local community, engaging in conversations and efforts aimed at strengthening public education across the state. Her involvement with WASB reflects her broader commitment to making education better for all students. Mrs. Amy Levy exemplifies a commitment to excellence. She brings a keen attention to every detail, to every discussion and decision, ensuring that the work of the board is thoughtful, thorough, and aligned with our responsibilities. She has never shied away from asking the hard questions, the kind that challenge assumptions, strengthen proposals, and ultimately lead to better outcomes for our district. Her voice has been especially important in advocating for the issues and communities that are closest to her heart. Through her persistence and thoughtful inquiry, she has helped elevate conversations and improved results in meaningful ways. Public service, particularly in education, is not always easy. It requires time, sacrifice, and a willingness to engage in complex and sometimes difficult decisions. Amy has met that responsibility with integrity and purpose and grace. On behalf of the board and the entire school district of Beloit, we extend our sincere gratitude for her service, her leadership, and her unwavering dedication to students. While her time on the board is concluding, the impact of her contributions will be continued to be felt throughout the district and the community. Amy Joyce Levy, please accept this gift as a small token of our appreciation for your 6 years of dedicated service and lasting contributions to our district. Thank you, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Megan?
Mrs. Levy, I just want to thank you on behalf of my children and all of the kids in our district. You have just insurmountably improved. You were here in the thick of COVID. You did all the things. You held all of us, all of us to the highest possible standard. And I know I've said this to you before personally, and I'll just say it to the World Wide Web, that you have. The standard and vision that you have is the highest of integrity. You've made me a better person. You've made me a better mother. I mean, you make everybody around you the best possible version of themselves because you hold yourself and all of us to that vision. And all of us, an entire community is better because of it. So I just really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for not only what you've given to our kids and to our community and your service, but to all of us as people. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan Ann Miller.
Anyone else?
I will.
Joanne?
So this is my first year, I guess, on the board now fully, and I have learned so much from you, and I appreciate all that you've taught me. And I still remember long time ago sitting at the Road Dog with the Optimist Club when you first came in, and I was so excited to hear what you had to say as someone who is campaigning. And so it's really wild for me to be able to have spent a year up here serving with you. So thank you for everything you've done, and everything that they said, yes, ditto. You're fabulous.
Thank you.
Next, we have Brian Nichols. We also recognize and thank our outgoing Vice President, Brian Nichols, for his dedicated service to the Board of Education and to our entire school community. When I became board president, I made a very intentional decision in selecting a vice president. I sought out the board member who I felt was the most opposite from myself. In a time when the world feels increasingly divided and polarized, I believed that pairing two individuals with differing perspectives and in leadership would require us to rely on compromise, thoughtful dialogue, and mutual respect to move our work forward. Brian Nichols seemed to be just about everything I was not. But over time, working side by side, I had the privilege of getting to know Brian beyond our roles on the board. What I found was a thoughtful, grounded, and deeply committed leader. Brian has been an excellent vice president. He cares deeply for all of our students, and that care is evident in every conversation and every decision he approaches. His calm, unassuming demeanor has often served as a steady and centering presence, especially in moments when my own frustrations have run a bit high. His patience and acceptance have been so steadfast that he didn't even flinch during some of our more candid, off-the-record conversations, even when he was subjected to a barrage of my more colorful language. While we have not always agreed, and we never will on everything, but what has always been clear is that Brian leads with a genuine sense of compassion and a commitment to doing what is best for our students, staff, and community. He has never allowed differences in perspective to stand in the way of meaningful progress. A man of integrity, grounded in his faith and personal values, Brian leads by example. He consistently offers kindness, respect, and his full attention to anyone who seeks his time. That quiet leadership has made a lasting impact on this board and the community we serve. Brian has also taken on significant leadership responsibilities, serving as chairperson of the Policy and Human Resources Committee, where he has helped strengthen and improve our board policies and procedures. His willingness to take on difficult and sometimes complex challenges speaks to his courage and dedication. As vice chair of the Business Operations and Finance Committee, Brian has played a critical role in helping guide the board through challenging financial decisions. His work has helped ensure that even in the face of necessary reductions, we have remained focused on our core priority, providing the strongest possible academic experience for our students. Brian exemplifies a true commitment to excellence. Brian, thank you for your service, your partnership, and your steady leadership. On a personal note, thank you for reminding me that we are far more alike than we are different, and that it is only through working together that we can overcome challenges and reach our highest potential. Please accept this token of our appreciation for your service and your many contributions to this board and district. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Mr. Hankins?
Well, I kind of spoke up last night at policy because I thought it was a proper forum because Brian has been my guiding force in policy, and he was the chair. But I will kind of reiterate a few of the points that I made last night. I've learned so much from this man, to watch his grace and humility in guiding myself. And through thick and thin, keeping a steady force, keeping to his principles. And we haven't agreed or disagreed. I mean, we have agreed and disagreed a lot, not a whole lot, but he's been through a lot of the controversial items that we've been through in the last my 2 years here. So, and he's always unwavered, dedicated, and he always keeps in his back pocket, like he told me, students. What benefits the students, and I was told that before I got on board. You don't need to know everything. Just keep students number one. And I am so grateful and honored to have served with him for 2 years, and I'm really going to miss you. Thank you.
Amy and Brian, we are going to miss both of you more than what you guys know. We really are. Next up on tonight's agenda, we have public comment. Mrs. Shope, are there any public comments tonight?
I do not have any in the room, but I do have several emails.
Okay. I will go ahead and read this. Members of the public are welcome to attend all open meetings of the Board of Education. Individuals attending board meetings are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner that models appropriate behaviors for our students. Individuals wishing to comment are expected to comply with the norms found on the back of your comment cards and in Board Policy 187, Public Participation at Board Meetings. We ask that each of you contribute to maintaining a respectful and orderly meeting and prevent discussing confidential matters in a public forum by following these norms and public comments during board meetings. Thank you for your participation and courtesy.
The first one I have is from Shanae. My name is Shanae. This is my 9th year as a school counselor and 7th year as a school counselor in the school district of Beloit. I'm writing to express significant concerns regarding the proposal discussed at the March 30th meeting to cut elementary guidance, which should actually be written as school counselor positions from the district. I'm deeply distressed that this is being proposed again after such clear concern was expressed from all stakeholders last year. It frankly disturbs me that cutting any members of our our school's student services team would be considered as a budgetary cut. While I understand the SDB needs to make some difficult decisions in order to balance our budget, I firmly believe that these cuts would have a significant negative impact on our district and ultimately the students and families we serve. Our MLSS team looked at office referrals today at our weekly meeting, and here are some of our findings. So far this school year, Hackett has had 858 discipline incidents written in Skyward. This is important to note because not all discipline incidents are written up. If they were, we'd be writing discipline incident reports all day long. This is the second highest amount in the district behind BMHS. 213 of those incidents were coded as 130, safety violation minor, typically first offense. 160 of those incidents were coded as 232, safety violation, second offense. 75 for 106, insubordination, first or second offense. 62 for 105, horseplay. 50 for 210, physical aggression towards student, and 40 for 209, insubordination, open defiance. Our elementary buildings are in a state of crisis due to extremely unsafe student behaviors, and it would be even worse without school counselors. The behaviors we are seeing now are more disrespectful and unsafe than ever before, and responding to those behaviors takes up a significant amount of time for the principal, dean of students, school psychologist, school social worker, and myself. I often feel like I cannot complete some of my other school counselor job duties because I'm spending so much time helping with students who are disrupting the learning of themselves and others. This is a second year in a row that my colleagues and I have had to fight to keep school counselors. What this says to me is that the people proposing this as a solution don't have any idea how important social emotional learning is for our students and how hard of a job it is to teach these skills to underprivileged youth. On any given day, here is what my day consists of. Supervision duties, arrival, recess, and dismissal, small group SEL education, individual SEL education, classroom SEL education, paperwork and meetings, attendance, tracking and improvement, parent phone calls, emails, text messages, behavior reporting, referral writing, data tracking, crisis intervention at any given moment, school-wide behavior and attendance initiatives, continuous problem solving for myself, for students, for colleagues, providing emotional support and redirection all day long, supporting special education staff and students, serving on the building leadership team, volunteering my time before and after school for literally anything you could think of, being highly aware and observant of all happenings in the school building. We all know that by now that students cannot learn if they are not regulated emotionally. When I speak about SEL, I'm referring to social and emotional learning. And for the youth of today, this looks a lot like teaching children how to share, how to walk and talk respectively, how to persevere when things are hard, how they don't always get what they want, how to accept the word no, how to problem solve the most basic of issues, how to get along with other people, how to ignore others when possible, how to talk to adults and respect others. The list is endless. These are skills a lot of our students are lacking. However, I think a lot of people believe they are coming into school knowing these competencies, and it's just not true. I would like to reiterate that it is also very important to bring up the SDB has communicated greatly to the desire to retain dedicated, highly qualified staff. Most student services staff I know rarely, if ever, take a full 30-minute duty-free lunch. We also never actually take a designated prep period. We all take some degree of work home or stay after hours to complete it. For myself and for multiple other student services staff I know, last year and now this year have been the most challenging school years of our careers. On top of all the student behaviors we're seeing, and we're seeing a lot, most buildings are still not fully staffed. Last year, we were short-staffed the entire year, and now again this year.
Show,
Yep.
we're past 3 minutes.
I'm happy to yield my time.
Is there anybody who's not a board member that would be willing to yield their time? Otherwise, I will accept Megan's yielding of time. Okay. Oh, Mrs. Schoof is yielding her time.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're 2 months away from the end of the year and still have openings. Everyone I work with has been doing more than their job for the past several years, but many of us sign our contracts and commit to returning each year because of our dedication to serving the SDB students and families. To cut staff who have signed contracts year after year and choose to be here after the toughest year of their career would absolutely not be a step in the right direction to retaining dedicated and highly qualified staff, as the district claims. Not only would it send the opposite message, but it would send the message that our work is not valued and that we are highly expendable. I consider myself a deeply loyal and dedicated person. I have been nothing but happy and fulfilled while working at Hackett, serving Beloit students and watching them grow. It was my vision to stay at Hackett as long as possible because I love it that much. I know cuts need to be made somewhere, but to again hear the possibility that it may be myself and some of the most unwavering and steadfast people I have ever met truly breaks my heart. But specifically and more importantly, it hurts to think that these students will be losing more valuable resources and people that love them in a world where those are so limited. In closing, the district needs to retain all current elementary student services positions in order to be able to address the severe behavioral and mental health issues we are seeing in the buildings on a daily basis. If staff are not able to provide interventions, behaviors are going to continue to impact learning, and we will not be able to improve our academic scores. We will never be able to fix the issues that continue to drive students and families away from the school district of Beloit.
Thank you.
The next one is, I have 2 emails that came under Gashela, and they're signed by 2 different people. I'm writing as a concerned father of 2 children. I'm not going to say the students' names, who both live with diabetes and require daily medical attention while at school. This is not just a matter of convenience for our family. It is about safety, trust, and making sure they are properly cared for throughout the school day. I also work within the school district, and I see firsthand how much school nurses are a part of the daily functioning of our schools. They are not just there for emergencies. They support students with ongoing medical needs, respond to healthcare concerns throughout the day, and help keep students in class and learning. Their presence makes a real difference every single day. Managing diabetes is something that requires constant attention. It involves checking blood sugar levels, giving insulin, recognizing warning signs, and being able to respond quickly if something goes wrong. These are not simple responsibilities, and they require someone with medical training and experience. School nurses play a major role in making sure children like mine are safe and able to focus on learning. I understand that the district is considering reducing or eliminating health staff. As a parent, I would not feel comfortable having a secretary or anyone without medical training responsible for my children's care. This is not about questioning anyone's character or willingness to help. It is about recognizing that my children's health needs require a trained professional. When it comes to diabetes, even a small mistake or delay can turn into a serious situation very quickly. School nurses do more than just handle emergencies. They help manage ongoing health conditions, make sure students are staying on track with their care, and provide support when kids are overwhelmed or not feeling well. That consistency and knowledge matters, especially for children dealing with something as serious as diabetes every single day. Taking away or reducing access to school nurses would put students at risk and create real concern for families like mine. I should be able to send my children to school knowing they are safe and that their medical needs are being handled by someone qualified to do so. I strongly urge the board to reconsider any decision that would eliminate or reduce health staff in schools. The next one is concerned mother of 2 daughters who both live with diabetes and require daily medical care while at school. As a parent, trusting others with your children, it's never easy, especially when their health depends on it every single day. Diabetes is not something that can be managed casually. It requires constant monitoring, timely insulin administration, and the ability to recognize and respond quickly to changes in their condition. These are responsibilities that require medical knowledge, training, and experience. School nurses provide that level of care and attention, and it gives me peace of mind knowing my daughters are in capable hands while they're at school. I understand the district is considering reducing or eliminating health staff at Gaston. I want to be clear that I would not feel comfortable having a secretary or untrained staff member responsible for my daughter's medical needs. This is not about questioning anyone's willingness to help. It's about understanding that my children's health requires a trained medical professional. When it comes to diabetes, even a small mistake or delay can become very serious and very quickly. School nurses do so much more than respond to emergencies. They support students with ongoing health conditions, make sure care plans are followed, and help children feel safe and supported throughout the school day. For families like mine, that support is everything. The thought of sending my daughters to school without proper medical staff available is honestly frightening. Parents should not have to worry about whether their children can be safe during the school day due to a lack of trained health professionals. I know this firsthand because I am dealing with it at Head Start here in Beloit with my youngest daughter. It has been exhausting and extremely frustrating not knowing who would be giving my daughter the proper care and attention she needs throughout the day. Sometimes with me driving back and forth because of lack of staff or their comfortability. I strongly urge the board to reconsider any decision that would eliminate or reduce school health staff. Our children's safety and well-being should always come first. Next, I have one from Haley. I am writing to express my deep concern regarding the proposal to eliminate the school health office and shift the responsibility of medication administration to non-medical staff. As a parent, this change is alarming. Many children rely on timely and accurate administration of medication during the school day, some of which are critical to their health and safety. A missed dose, incorrect dosage, or improper administration could have serious, even life-threatening consequences. Trained medical professionals, such as school nurses, have the knowledge and experience to manage these responsibilities safely. Expecting office staff who are not medically trained to take on this role introduces unnecessary risk. Beyond medication administration, the school nurse plays a vital and irreplaceable role in the well-being of students. The health office is often a safe place for children, not just when they are physically unwell, but when they are hurt, overwhelmed, or in need of someone they trust. School nurses build meaningful relationships with students and are often the first to recognize signs of deeper issues, whether medical, emotional, or related to a child's safety at home. Speaking of my children's particularly, the relationship that has been built between Lindsay at Gaston and my children is something beautiful. My children feel safe talking to her when they don't feel safe talking to other staff. Lindsay is often able to connect with them on a deeper level when they get in trouble or are having a hard time in the school day and just need a reset. Eliminating this role would remove an essential layer of care and support that many children depend on daily. It is not simply about convenience, it is about safety, trust, and the overall well-being of our students. I strongly urge the board to reconsider this decision and prioritize the health and safety of our children in the district. The presence of a trained school nurse is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Thank you for your time and consideration. And the last one is from Nicole. I'm a school counselor at Fruzen Middle School. I have been a middle school counselor at Fruzen for 4 years. Honestly, I was pretty surprised to hear that counseling positions were up for discussion regarding possible elimination again. This is the second time in the last 18 months that I'm explaining why student service positions should not be on the chopping block. I understand that as a district we are short money. However, I believe cutting more from student services will be detrimental to the school district of Beloit for many years to come. On paper, that might seem like a valid and relatively easy solution to find some of the money to help balance the school district of Beloit's budget. It is not that simple. Student services is composed of school social workers, school counselors, and school psychologists. Each role is unique and vital to the district, students, and families. It takes all of us working as a team to provide the best support, care, and plans to help ensure that each student has appropriate services and supports to help them thrive at school. We work tirelessly with administration, teachers, nursing staff, family advocates, and paraprofessionals to implement interventions to help students academically and emotionally. We work daily with students and families. As a snapshot, last week I met with 55 students individually. The School District of Beloit currently employs 13 school counselors for the 10 schools that we have in our district. Cutting these positions would create a lot of frustration, chaos, and sadness among our students, families, and colleagues. We work extremely hard to build relationships with families. Eliminating counseling positions and shifting other counselors to a different school could make it difficult to keep moving forward with the positive relationships that have been established. It would also cause a shift in the workload for the student services members that are still employed. Will they stay with that extra workload? Will students get the services they need? I worry about the lasting impact this will have on our students, families, and community. Our world, especially our little corner of Beloit, has seen an increasing number of mental health challenges in our schools. I believe that it is imperative that we prioritize the well-being of our children and provide them with the necessary resources and services to support their mental health. I've observed a growing number of students struggling with anxiety, depression, suicide, and other mental health issues. These challenges can significantly impact a student's academic performance, social interactions, and overall quality of life. It is essential that our schools are equipped to address these needs and provide timely interventions. It can truly save lives. Looking at the state of Wisconsin specifically, here are some facts that were found on the website of the Wisconsin Office of Children's Mental Health. 51% of teens reported having anxiety. 35% of teens reported dealing with depression. 20% of teens have had more than one instance of self-harm in the last year. 18% of teens report that they are suicidal or have had thoughts of suicide in the last year. I work with students who have parents incarcerated, homeless students, students who are victims of abuse and neglect, depression, anxiety, anger management, AODA, atypical preteen, teen dilemmas, and a variety of other issues that come up daily. I have had students and their parents or guardians come up to me and share that they don't know what they would have done without my help in their darkest days.
We're at 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
We're at 3 minutes.
Okay.
The time limit. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would, and it's not that I know in the past, we have, I think just for, the board moving forward, that we can yield time prior to the reading of a public comment, because that way then it takes away bias that the board may have. If at the end where the 3-minute time is up, it may, the perception that we have a bias one way or another. So I'm just trying to eliminate bias at this time. And hopefully that's something that the next policy chair can take a look at. But go ahead. Amy,
Finish?
or Mr. Schoof is
Okay.
yielding his time.
Okay. There's not much more. My job isn't over at 4 p.m. I am there late many days, connecting with outside counselors, going to IEP meetings, talking with families, and laying the foundation to help these students gain confidence and hopefully self-esteem during their most crucial years. I don't take it lightly that I have them during that time. I have the opportunity to help them grow. Some days are very heavy and weigh on my heart and mind. I'm thankful to have my student services team to rely on and brainstorm ideas. They help me problem solve and remind me to practice self-care. I work hard to compartmentalize the heavy stuff because I have to constantly be that rock for students as well as for my own kids. I appreciate you listening to my comments. I encourage you to reach out to any member of Student Services and ask them about their job and the things they do on a daily basis. You will see how valuable we are to the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Schultz. No, we're moving on to the reports to the board. And the first report is the student board report. Student board representative McKenna Rounds is not here tonight, so we will move right into the superintendent report. Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Malat.
Good evening. As you know, the school district continues to benefit from strong community partnerships that support student achievement and school improvement efforts. So with that being said, we are pleased to announce that the Hendricks Family Foundation has not just graciously committed to funding one school, but two. They've committed to implementing the costs for two of our schools, Converse Elementary and Gaston Elementary. They are fully funding the cost of one school and 3/4 of the cost of the second school. This investment reflects the foundation's confidence in our staff, as they were particularly impressed by the enthusiasm, commitment, and willingness of both school teams to engage in meaningful efforts. The remaining portion of funding for the second school will be supported through Title I funds over the 3-year engagement period, ensuring full participation and sustainability of the work. As part of this initiative, we are partnering with Open Literacy and Skyrocket Education Services. Sarah from Open Literacy will be on site at Gaston and Converse tomorrow afternoon to begin initial engagement and planning. Additionally, Michael from Skyrocket will be visiting both schools in May to support implementation efforts. We will be collaborating closely with the foundation and the BEA, Beloit Education Association, to address and align aspects of the compensation connected to this work. In addition to this work, we will be partnering with AmeriCorps Reading to expand tutoring opportunities for other students across the other elementary schools. This effort will provide additional targeted literacy support and help strengthen outcomes for students beyond the initial implementation sites. We have also partnered with the Hendricks Family Foundation and other Rock County school districts in the area in the Go Beyond Grades website campaign. This is a free support resource that offers families and educators a website in working together through clearer, more meaningful information about student progress. The platform offers tools, tips, and resources in both English and Spanish to help families better understand how their child is doing, take informed action, and build strong home-school partnerships that support student success. Again, this is free. At this time, we have made several leadership adjustments to ensure stability and continued progress across our schools. Ms. Regina McAllister, principal at Merrill Elementary, and Mr. Otha Williams, dean of students, have graciously stepped in to support Robinson Elementary for just the remainder of the school year. Their leadership at Merrill has been instrumental in establishing strong systems, structures, and routines, and they are now bringing that same focus and consistency to Robinson. Ms. Jasmine Hill is currently serving as interim principal at Merrill Elementary. She brings strong principal leadership skills and a solid background in school social work, and she is doing an excellent job as interim principal in maintaining stability and ensuring that daily operations continue to run smoothly. As you are aware, the district is facing a significant budget crisis. When questions arise about whether specific programs, positions, or initiatives will be reduced, the reality is that all areas must be considered. Anything is possible at this point. The 26-27 school year marks the beginning of what will be a multi-year process of budget reductions. While we will remain grounded in our commitment to students, it is important to acknowledge that every reduction will have some level of impact on student experiences. At the same time, we continue to actively explore strategies to minimize the impact of these reductions. This includes maximizing the use of grant funding, evaluating and adjusting technology platforms, keeping Chromebooks at school sites to reduce damage-related costs, and carefully assessing staffing needs based on enrollment trends. These efforts are focused on maintaining high-quality learning environments while being fiscally responsible. This is a challenging time for school districts across the state and nation, and it is no different here in the school district of Beloit, and we deeply appreciate the continued support of our community as we work to serve our students and staff during this time. As we recognize transition in board leadership, we extend our gratitude to Brian and Amy for their service and commitment to the district. We also warmly welcome Bill, Carol, and Dan to the Board of Education. The strength of our district lies in collaborative governance, and we are confident that this important work will continue. Finally, next week, we will celebrate a remarkable milestone as we induct 20 staff members into the Quarter Century Club. This recognition honors the individuals who have dedicated 25 years of service to education. This is an accomplishment that is increasingly rare and truly commendable. We are proud to celebrate their commitment, perseverance, and lasting impact on our students and community. As we continue to move forward, our focus will remain on making thoughtful, strategic decisions that prioritize student learning, safety, and well-being while maintaining transparency and collaboration with our stakeholders. Thank you.
Mrs. Levy?
Thank you so much. Dr. Malat, does the administration feel that expanding a pilot program that hasn't been approved by the board is premature?
I'm sorry. Dr. Anderson was in support of that. And so we were able to work with the Hendricks family because they had supported the first pilot. And so we were able to go ahead with that movement.
So I'm assuming your answer is no. And just so everyone is clear, the board has not accepted the pilot program. We voted to move forward with a contract that if the contract comes back and it's accepted, then the district would move forward with the pilot program. So just to be clear, the administration does not believe it's premature to expand a pilot program that has not been approved by the board.
No, I'm going to take that as a no, that they don't feel that it's premature. Both buildings, Gaston and Converse, the teams, the staff were in favor of having these programs in their buildings. In fact, the way it came about was it was so difficult for the decision to be made which school building would receive the services. Lisa Furseth went back to the Hendricks Family Foundation board and requested this, that they expand and offer more services. And when the contract comes before the board, both buildings will be there on the contract.
Thank you for the clarification. Much appreciated.
Yep. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that report. I am so excited to hear that we are working with Reading Corps. Can you just, if you have the information, can you talk me through a little bit more? And for those who don't know, yeah, the AmeriCorps Reading Program is usually like local folks who are trained. It's usually 5 days a week. Would you mind sharing that with folks?
Yeah, so we just had a preliminary meeting with AmeriCorps. It was just a virtual meeting. We actually have another meeting set up with them tomorrow and some of our principals. So they bring in volunteers who are trained. It's very exciting, and they work with students. The volunteers are vetted out, teaching experience, and so they will be in to tutor our students, fully vetted, and working with them on literacy. It is absolutely free. If we were to use them for math tutoring, we would have to pay, but we're only looking at using them for literacy services at this time, but we're looking at using them across our other school buildings at this point.
That's fantastic to hear. And yeah, I'm an AmeriCorps alum myself, and it's a great program, and it's the way that I've seen it. And so just please correct. So it's like 5 days a week. It would be during like regular intervention time, similar to what Open Literacy is doing. And I'm excited too to think, and I hope, I know this is a bit jumping ahead, but as we're talking later in the agenda about budgets and visioning, could potentially be like a pool of folks that could rise into I know like Rochelle Elliott's talked about like the early literacy para positions and things like that. Is that sort of?
Yeah, and we're looking at doing anything that we can to improve our reading scores. So, and especially now that we have Act 20 and we have students with PRP. So it's a heavy lift for our school staff and our interventionists and literacy coaches. Everybody's feet on the ground. So any additional help that we can get, and free is how we like to spend money, right? And so any additional help we can get is great. And using volunteers is absolutely amazing. And AmeriCorps is right there. And so we're excited to bring that to our principals tomorrow.
Thank you. I just have so much gratitude that you're moving forward with this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Malat. Next is our Policy and Human Resources Committee report. Committee Chair Brian Nichols.
Thank you, Board President Johnson. So we met yesterday afternoon, and we took care of the Exhibit A from the HR, which is is moved forward to the full board for approval later this evening. And then we spent the most of our time on Policy 352 about field trips, and we had a very great discussion. Mrs. Fox had worked on and thank you, Mrs. Fox, on a proposal, and we dissected it about 85 different ways, I think, and there's still more work to do on it, which the next policy HR committee will carry forward. But I think we're on the right road, and to make that policy look good and cover all the needs of the district. So. And thank you, and for that, I sign off.
Thank you, Chairman Nichols. We appreciate all of your work. Next, we have Teaching, Learning, Equity, and Pupil Services Committee Report, Committee Chair Joanne Rue.
Yes, thank you. So we met tonight, and we had a presentation by Robin Stutt about student homelessness and the supports that we have in place. We talked about donations that we get from different people, and so anyone that's wanting to donate, you can let them know that it's for our homeless youth, and it goes to help support. Robin talked mostly, what helps the most is helping them before they actually become homeless. So any little bit helps with that. We had a discussion about Medicaid billing software and learned about 2 other ones that are available beside Compass Care. We're looking into which committee is actually the one that should be deciding how we move forward, whether it's the TLE committee or the finance committee. And so once we know that and have some questions answered, that should be coming to the full board eventually. And then Leah Malat shared about summer school and all of the exciting offerings we have. And it's open not only to School District of Beloit students, but also to any resident of Beloit. And that, is there something else, Megan?
That was a beautiful report. Just because not everybody watches the committee meeting, do you mind if I just share what Robin shared about our homeless student count? Yes. So she said that as of today, we have 544 students who, under McKinney-Vento's definition, are experiencing homelessness, which is staggering. And that really, that amounts to 12% of Beloit School District students experiencing homelessness, which is about roughly 1 in 8 students, which is per capita the highest rate in the state. Not to end on a somber note, but thank you.
Is that it? Thank you, Chairperson Rue. Next, we have board action and discussion items. First up is budget guidance. And the purpose of this is to have the board provide guidance to the administration to develop a comprehensive written 2026-2027 budget plan. The background information is at the March 30th budget workshop, Dr. Anderson presented a tale of 2 budgets, the preliminary budget considerations for the 26-27 and the 27-28 school years. This included potential options for the 26-27 budget and projections for the 27-28 budget. Tonight's discussion is to decide what specific guidance the board wants to give the administration. Attached on board docs is a document that was first drafted by board member Carol Fox, and we have discussed this. I believe this is our third time discussing it with the full board. And before I turn it over to board member Fox, Dr. Malat, is there anything that you wanted to comment on this? Mrs. Fox?
Yeah, well, we have talked about this a few times. We just, the whole idea is to provide some direction to our administration about what our priorities are and what kind of documentation that we're looking for, so that we can focus on those priorities, but look at what is being provided, so that we can make some good decisions about trying to balance that budget. There are going to be no good decisions. We kind of know that, because whatever decision we make, what Dr. Anderson is saying is it's going to impact students, and it's going to. So we want to make the best decisions possible, and to do that, we need to focus on our priorities, and which are, the 3 at the top: maintaining the teacher-pupil ratio, focusing on staff retention and recruitment, and prioritizing some of our district programs and initiatives that really help us drive our student enrollment. So then underneath there is just a list of some of the documents that might help us make the decision.
Thank you. Are there any board member questions or comments? Megan Miller.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much, Mrs. Fox, for putting this together. I think you've done a wonderful job really taking your feedback and distilling it into a really cohesive document. I spent some time this weekend, as Board President Johnson said in her overview, I'm sure we all have had conversations with folks and listened to people. And I had a really wonderful clarifying moment, and I want to just share that for a little bit of feedback under priorities. So I think it's there and it's not explicitly stated, but I think it would, and I mean 1 of 7, to me, based on conversations I've had with people, we really want to put this under the umbrella of the overarching question of how do we best meet all of the needs of our students. And the specific feedback I got from having the conversation that I had with a community member over the weekend was asking the question, how do we place each of our students in instructional spaces that best meet their needs? And while I know, to the point that we're balancing out here, any cut we make is going to take something away from our kids, knowing that. The best that we are able to me, I'm reading and I don't think any of the priorities you have listed on here contradict that by any means. I just wonder if we need to add sort of just that overarching guiding sort of essential question focus. We're trying to answer the question, given the scarcity of the situation, how do we best meet the unique and diverse needs of each of our kids instructionally? So that's just a little bit of feedback. It's not, I don't think anything that needs to be changed. I don't think that contradicts anything. To me, that was very helpful to sort of rethink your documentation through that lens. And to that end, I just think I'm making a suggestion that if we do have sort of a central question, that might help our community members, engage really clearly and directly and kind of cohesively around this document that you put together.
Any other board members? Brian Nichols.
Oh, yeah. It's my last night. Do I need to do it? No. I think, well, first of all, I think it's really good, Carol, thank you, and Megan's comments are good too. I would like to suggest a change to the name to board guidance for the 26-27 school district of Beloit budget. I think that's our role as a board to do that. So I think that's just a suggestion. So.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Hankins?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate Ms. Fox and all the hard work she's put into this, and I know this is right up her alley. That's why I defer to the educators, the professionals, to weigh in on this, and it's I really appreciate all the hard work that goes into it, and I do agree with Megan. We all know, and I disagree with the thing that these decisions don't have to be. We're trying to have the less impact. They're hard decisions, but they don't have to be bad decisions. We have to make sure we're making right decisions for the majority, and it's just a big, colossal. We have to consider every little student and how they are affected. So, I mean, it's a big, broad thing, but we're all trying to do the best we can, and I appreciate all the hard work that's going into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. Anyone else? Mrs. Fox, do you have any objection to Mr. Nichols' proposed name change?
No. Wrong one. No, I don't have, it was a draft, so that was why it was recommended.
Right.
So certainly we can change that to board guidance. If we want to add, I think I wrote Megan's question is how do we put our students in the best possible educational environment?
Yeah, and I don't think I'm tied to the specific language. I think if somebody at Walmart asks you, hey, what are you guys trying to do? It's nice to have that, we're trying to make sure each of our kids get placed in the best possible instructional space, or however you want to conceptualize it. I just think that invites constructive conversation. It helps build kind of, just common language and a common vision as we're working through this kind of difficult process. So I don't mind how you phrase it. If you're okay with that, it works for me.
No, I think we could just say board guidance, and then under priorities, you could say priorities that will lead us to the best educational environment for our students, and just make it a sentence that says that. And if we make those amendments, I would move that we, what do we do? What do we move to adopt this, this document with those amendments?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to make the proposed amendments to this document. And Mrs. Fox, would you mind emailing those to Mrs. Shope so that she has them exactly?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you. And to present this to the administration. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda, we have a discussion of Fund 80. Presenting tonight, we have Stephanie Elwood, Interim Executive Director of Business Services, and Dr. Leah Malat. The purpose of this is to review previously board-approved Fund 80 actions. The background is, after reviewing the information requested by the board, the administration would like to clarify that on October 7th, 2025, the board approved many items discussed at the April 14th meeting. DPI has been very clear that staffing expenses must be tracked through payroll and paid on an hourly basis. Per Board Policy 830 and Rule 1, the use of facilities excluding the pool falls under the responsibility of the business office. Increased use of district facilities would likely result in higher costs to the general fund, which cannot be transferred to Community Service Fund, Fund 80, per DPI guidance. At this time, costs beyond custodial fees cannot be passed on to renters due to policy language. Looking forward, if we are reviewing moving the programming for middle school sports to the Community Service Fund, the business office will need a detailed plan to provide the auditors for review. Additionally, the Boys and Girls Club programming use in Fund 80 was previously presented as only being for transportation at a cost of about $7,000. Has this request changed? We would also need the details of this request to be reviewed by the auditors to ensure that it is eligible for Fund 80. Ms. Elwood and Dr. Malat.
So I guess at this point, thank you for reading my little short summary. I guess at this point, is there questions regarding Fund 80 from the board?
I don't know if there are questions from the board, but to provide the public kind of an understanding of Fund 80, can you and/or Dr. Malat explain what Fund 80 is and what some of the restrictions are? Because it seems like, oh wow, Fund 80, it's great, this community, service stuff, we can throw everything we want in there because everything is community service that we're doing, but it's a lot more complicated than that.
It is a lot more complicated than that, and thank you. So the Fund 80 is a community service fund that is taxpayer funded. So every dollar that we spend out of Fund 80 is an additional tax levy to the taxpayers, in addition to the tax levy for general fund expenses. So currently in Fund 80, the board has approved the Even Start program out of Fund 80 and additional community service activities out of Fund 80, so use of the pool, community use of our buildings, those types of things. Those types of things don't, excluding the pool, the use of the buildings for like the city of Beloit to come in and use our fields and things, we don't charge them a fee for those items unless it is on the weekend and there's additional custodial costs. And it is my understanding that we are not currently charging the city of Beloit for the custodial costs for those either, but other community groups, we do charge the custodial costs. So outside of those things, those are the items we currently have in Fund 80. The restrictions on Fund 80 is that it has to be true community use, meaning it's not just the current students that attend the school district of Beloit, but it's any community member in the taxpayer area of the school district, so including children that may be going to the Learning Academy or private schools. Or I'm sorry, the Lincoln Academy.
Thank you. And then there was also the, one of these is not permitted under our policy, one of our policies?
So our current rental use of facilities policy is very, it's very open to the public. So almost any group that comes in and uses our facilities is free to use or able to use the facilities without a cost outside of custodial fees. So just about anybody that asks uses the facilities for free.
Okay, so is there a proposed change to the policy that the administration is recommending?
Yes, we will be bringing the use of facilities policy to policy committee.
Okay, thank you. Carol Fox, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, we were presented with this middle school athletics proposal for basically a way to cut some of the athletic budget. But it was pretty much dependent on putting a lot of stuff into Fund 80. And what I read or was hearing you say is that that may not be a workable plan. Is that what I'm hearing?
So I don't know exactly what the plan is. I heard a lot of having community partners run the middle school programs. So currently we have the Rising Tide that is using some of our facilities, and they are running programs. But there is no charge to the Rising Tide for using our facilities, and there's no additional costs that we incur, so we don't pay somebody to run those. So to put that into Fund 80, there's no revenue and there's no expense to put there, so that wouldn't apply.
It looked like there were some things that were in this budget that were already in Fund 80 as well. Am I hearing? Well, you said you didn't have the proposal. There was a proposal for a position, and that cannot go into Fund 80. Is that correct?
So the recommendation from the DPI, Department of Public Instruction, was that any kind of position that is paid for out of Community Service Fund needs to be an hourly position and time carded so that it can be tracked that the activity is directly related to a community service fund.
So we need to go back and look at this athletic proposal a little bit more. That's what I'm hearing. That we may be able to do something different with the middle school program, but not necessarily with using Fund 80 money, correct? Okay.
Any other board member comments or questions? Mr. Hankins?
Yeah, I would just like if Mr. Gratz, I see he's in the audience, if he has anything to offer to this conversation. I mean, this is tied up, a lot of this is tied up into your realm, and you presented it before, so just to have your feedback on it, I think would be, I mean, this is just general knowledge, and we need to have this before we move forward. Thank you.
And for the community's awareness, Mr. Gratz had presented some information at the last board budget workshop, and that's what we're talking about.
I think Ms. Elwood obviously has to be the expert on the DPI guidance around community based programming in Fund 80 and what can be moved in and what cannot be. We presented this proposal, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, to our district leadership, and trying to get creative. We have to start bouncing everything possible off of we have to try to start being creative and figure out what we can do. So it's worth exhausting every question. Miss Elwood is providing that guidance and working through, with her what can be done. I think it would be the next steps. So if the answer is not Fund 80, how do we continue to work this process?
Thank you, Mr. Gratz. Or the other question could be is how do we massage this so that it works in Fund 80?
Yeah, again, I think it's just going to take all the minds getting together and being able to solve the problem.
Any other? Joanne Rue.
So how do we do that? Is that a workshop? It looks like, like Dan's got great ideas. Stephanie's got the legalities of it. Board has opinions. How do we make this happen?
Well, it reminds me of when growing up, when my siblings and I didn't get along and were fighting, my mom would make us sit on the bed until we got along. And with this budget, I'm kind of at this point where maybe we should just put all the administrators in a room until they get it figured out. But I am open to suggestions. Megan?
So I'm going to piggyback off of that, Ms. Russo. I think something that I was going to bring up anyway is, I'd really love to see, and I said this the last couple of times too, maybe when Dr. Anderson's back, like him invite in, Mark Perry in addition to Mark Rand and the folks we're already partnering with, right? I'm sure there's a long list and you're nodding your head. I'm sure you've got plenty of community partnerships you're already working with. We heard at TLE that, Ms. Stutt has this great set of partnerships. I agree. I think, and I'd like the board to be a part of that. I'd love for us to kind of sit down and say, like, what's our most ideal vision, and like what's currently available, and how do we take the existing resources, organizations, institutions that we have, and reconfigure in such a way that we can best uphold the current services that we do or would like to offer for our kids. And I think that's probably not a conversation that should just start with the board. Certainly you guys are already having those conversations and things like that. I'm wondering, I guess my question to Mr. Gratz, Ms. Elwood, Dr. Malat would just be, to what extent would it be feasible for you, or is that already in the works for you to reach out to our existing partnerships with Community Action, the Boys and Girls Club, everybody that you're working with, the folks we heard about from Ms. Stutt earlier, et cetera, and bring forward kind of an overarching, set of priorities. Here's how we could kind of redo how we work together, if possible, for athletics. This is, and for each of those kind of categories. Because and I think once the people who are actually doing the work have, because we don't need to be in the weeds as the board, if you guys wanted to work together and say, hey, here's some things that could be feasibly worked out, that sounds like maybe a board workshop to then align that with, kind of our vision. Does that kind of make sense? So I guess step one would be, is there a willingness, and I'm sure there is, and, capacity and time to have those conversations. I'm going to stop talking because you're nodding. Do you want to jump in?
At this point, this is a way to save some money, right? Yep. So anything we can do to save money has to be explored. Yep. So yeah, we would have to do that.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure we're not leaving out potential partnerships. I love that we're talking about Boys and Girls Club. They're not the only folks that we need to be talking to. That's the only reason I'm even interjecting that. So again, Ms. Rue, I 100% agree. Let's have a workshop. I want to make sure that our administration, our staff has the opportunity to kind of have those conversations and bring something to us, because we don't need to be inventing the wheel with them, right? Okay, thank you.
Any other board member questions or comments?
It needs to go back to the administration, and they need to work with partners and figure something out, and they can come back to us. It's one of the board directives that we just approved, was that we got a comprehensive plan. So, and sports and all of that stuff should be part of that plan.
Anyone else? A question I have, Mrs. Elwood, and I don't know if you have the answer off the top of your head or not, but I noticed on the Boys and Girls Club, so the transportation was what we thought we were looking at, but I see that they also have personnel for a couple different positions, supplies and related expenses. Are those things, can we cover those under Fund 80? And if it's personnel, but it's a Boys and Girls Club or a different organization's personnel, can we cover that under our Fund 80?
That is a really good question, and if the board wants me to investigate that, I will do that. I am not 100% sure one way or the other, so I would need to confer with the DPI and with our auditors on that, because, yeah, it does make it a little more complicated, because they're also talking about it not being on our site either. They're asking us to fund a program off-site.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If there aren't any other board member questions or comments, we will move forward with the athletic co-ops for spring 2027. And Mr. Gratz, since you are at the podium, and the purpose of this is to consider athletic co-ops for the spring of 2027. The background is at the April 14th board workshop. During the athletic proposal, the athletic director indicated there may be some sports for the following spring that could be part of a co-op. This would be a cost savings not only for Beloit, but for the other districts as well. Due to the meeting the May 1st deadline for WIAA, the only cooperative agreement to be generated was the Lincoln Academy for girls softball. Ms. Director Gratz.
Thank you. So you have 3 documents in front of you. We started the WIA co-op agreement and kind of work through that process. That doesn't obligate us to anything. That's just kind of one of the steps that we have to go through to trigger then the signature page. That's also was also presented. I gave, just based on some questions that were presented to me, I put together a brief 1-page synopsis essentially of what co-ops look like. Very, very broad and just tried to give as much information in a short reading as possible. One thing I wanted to reiterate, we don't know. I used hockey as an example here because that's been existing for quite a while. We don't know what the cost savings would be both directly or indirectly yet. We definitely could. We believe there are some athletes that are there for this purpose with softball at the Lincoln Academy that would be interested and could then support our program, be able to, right now we only have a varsity team, be able to develop a junior varsity team, which is more of a developmental team. So there is that benefit. There's also, on the other end, the negative of if even one of our students left the school district of Beloit that was a softball player to go to TLA because they still had the opportunity to play, that's a pretty substantial cost, a net negative for us at one student leaving the district. So I think it's weighing everything, and I think that's my role and your role as well is to, I think it could benefit us from a numbers perspective, and I reiterate could. I think it could benefit us from a financial perspective by decreasing costs if they have athletes and we're splitting the cost then. But I think it could also hurt us in losing students. One of the pieces that we have is a strong athletic and activities program over all other options within our city. Many of our students, I think, even hinting at potentially cuts or decreases to athletics brought a lot of calls to my office and media requests and things because it is so important. We're grateful for that, and we use that very much to try to entice our students. So we know how important that is to the city. So happy to explore and continue to go through these options. I just wanted to make sure we lay out all the information prior to any board direction.
Thank you, Mr. Gratz. Board Member Levy?
Thank you. You said that you're unsure about potential cost savings. So is there a possibility that the co-op could cost us more to house a team ourselves?
The percentage, the chance is very slim. We very much know what our program is likely to cost us. We're able to, similar to what we do with hockey, we're able to kind of look at addendums, operational costs, officials,
Transportation.
yeah, all the things. We can kind of put that in one nice package. We're already doing that for one team. If we were to add, say, a JV team, they play essentially on the same nights. So to answer that question, the cost wouldn't likely increase for what that package currently looks like. So the only, go ahead, sorry, I saw you.
No, you're fine. So just to reiterate my question, you're unsure about cost savings, but it sounds like you're pretty confident that the co-op expenses will not exceed what it would cost us to run a varsity team, which is what we currently have, on our own, or potentially have varsity and JV in the co-op. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. And then my other question, in the event that that turns out not to be accurate, is there an option where, well, one, what is the duration of the co-op? And if we find that for some reason participation in the co-op is more expensive than us having a JV varsity or varsity loan on our own, is there a way to opt out of the co-op? And if yes, will that cost us as well?
So the duration, I don't know the answer about opt-outs. Durations are 2 years. We renew every 2 years for, again, hockey as an example. So essentially we would be buying into a 2-year binding contract. The WA, there would be some negatives. We'd be pulling a potential team out of another conference to participate in our conference in one, if that makes sense, as the host school. And so a conference loses out on potential scheduled games. And so that would be, that's why they try to go in 2-year cycles, so that it's not constant change to year-to-year schedules.
Okay, so in conclusion, you're pretty certain that the co-op is going to cost less than us managing a team on our own, and it would be a 2-year commitment with, sounds like, no opting out if we find that the co-op is more expensive.
Correct. Yeah, equal to or less than what we're currently paying is my assumption. If players are coming from there, the cost of the program, let's just for round number say it's $15,000 for 15 players. 2 of them come from TLA. Instead of $15,000 being put on us, they pay 2, we pay $13,000. Does that quick math make sense?
No, it makes sense. I just hope that you're correct, that the co-op is less expensive. Thank you so much.
Director Gratz, the co-op, when and if it becomes in existence, is it limited to just the school district of Beloit and the TLA students, or is it also open to homeschooled kids or the Rock County Christian School kids or other students that live within the boundaries of the school district of Beloit?
From a school perspective, it's limited to TLA and SDB. Homeschool students that live in the district are allowed to already play with us. We have quite a few that are homeschooled but choose to participate in athletics already. So does that answer?
Yes. So if the Rock County Christian School, obviously they recently purchased the McNeil property, if they expand their enrollment and want to be part of this co-op, is that something that they can be a part of, or is this, once this is done, it's just these 2 schools?
For now, just these 2 schools. We can continue to expand to any and all opportunities around us that want to be a part of it, but right now it's just between us and the Lincoln Academy.
Okay, thank you. Any other board member questions? Megan Miller?
Sure, just a comment. I think we have really outstanding things to offer at our high school and of course across our district. And this is a way to be, good neighbors and frankly, having kids in other schools, making friends with our kids and seeing just the outstanding opportunities that we have could actually be a way to enroll students to the school district of Beloit. So, that's just something to throw out there. I think we're going to need to have a larger discussion at some point as a board, maybe even in tandem with, TLA, to have a discussion about how do we rebalance that give and take to make sure that every child in Beloit has an exceptional education and we're not, robbing each other of opportunities. So I'm in favor of a cooperative model. I think it's a great opportunity to showcase our outstanding school district and its offerings and to, foster good relationships.
Mr. Hankins.
Thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't realize that fact that it was just us and TLA. So Turner students who district students who open enrolled at Turner are not eligible.
Correct. Their home school is identified then as Turner per the WIA.
Okay. I definitely agree with what Ms. Miller just said. I mean, let's build a community, and I know Turner doesn't offer the same offerings we do for sporting events, and that's not the point. But I do know, I guess on my other backside on this, that there was a May 1st deadline for these collaborations, which is you're back against the wall to do this for the spring sports of 2027. So I don't know what you need from the board at this time. It is late in the game. Thanks.
Any other board member questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve the girls softball cooperative with the Lincoln Academy beginning in the spring season of the 26-27 school year?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Joanne Rue, seconded by Tom Hankins. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Director Gratz. Next up, we have the draft communication plan. And the purpose of this is to review a draft communication plan. At the April 14th board workshop, a communication plan was requested prior to being able to determine whether a position should be added to deal with district communications, which would in turn add to the amount that would need to be reduced from the overall budget. Was it last year or the year before we eliminated the communication department? And it has been an area we've kind of been struggling with as a district overall. Dr. Malat?
Sure. So we did, Monica left us, and we have not had anyone in that position specifically since her departure. So several people kind of have taken that under their wing. I know Missy Beavers does the Facebook piece and some of that marketing stuff. And then Brett Berg helps keep our website up and moving. And then, Brandy Grady kind of sticks in things and helps Brett with that. So it's kind of a collaborative effort that is taken on by multiple people here in the district. And everybody else helps get information to them to put out on various sources. So it's a collaborative team effort. So looking at the board's decision, whether we do build in funds for a new communications director, or if we just continue to move forward with continuing to do our own communications, the board was looking for some sort of a plan. So I took some communication plans from other places and picked, some critical pieces and kind of pieced together a communications plan for our district, which you have in front of you. And this communication plan, whether or not we go forth with employing a new person in the communications role or just continue using our own people, kind of lays out what we can expect from a clear communications plan in either facet. So if we were to have somebody in charge of our communications plan, this would be kind of how they would roll things out. And if we continue to operate in the capacity that we currently are, this is just kind of the processes and procedures and who does kind of what at moving forward, and some recommendations for processes moving forward. There is one page in the packet that you have that is taken right from when Monica and Maria were in charge of our communications, and it is with our branding. That is specifically something that they had used. So thinking ahead to if we are moving towards a referendum, using that branding piece in our communications and how that might look, where we would put those communications out, and on what sort of media sources we would put our brands out, whether it's flyers, whether it's internet ads, radio ads. You know, we do use different media sources here in Beloit. So it's the page that's titled Managing Our SDB Brand. The part that says Carousel 991, that's on our district TVs at the rotation that you can see on the right as you come into Colac. So lots of different ways that we communicate things out. And some of these have been a little bit lost since we don't have Monica and Maria, like the podcast, they were in charge of doing those, but you know, it's not that we couldn't have somebody pick those things back up for us to help get that communication back out. But just looking for ways to keep our communication effective and strengthen our student engagement and family engagement, and making sure that families understand expectations and resources and ways to get our ways to get their student progress, and making sure that families are able to get a hold of schools, how to reach out to schools, communicate with schools, and making our school district able to reach other communities too. So thinking, you know, Janesville, south of us, you know, because we want to reach an expanded area. Some pros of having the position in our district would be to provide more consistent, centralized messaging. Right now, our folks are putting things out when they have a minute. So like Friday, for example, when we had the storms coming, we were messaging Missy and we were messaging Brett Berg. Can you please put this message out for us? You know, so they do that on the fly. But if we have somebody in that position, they're able to kind of take that on, and that's their actual position. Another pro is, you know, just providing proactive communication rather than being reactive. The position for communication is really kind of the leader in the crisis management, and they free up administration to focus specifically on their instructional leadership and operations. So we certainly appreciate those who are doing the communications piece right now, but it is taking time away from what they are normally doing. Obviously, the cons for having that position, it is a big financial cost. The media people, Monica's position does a lot of heavy lifting, especially if we're in a referendum period. It's constant communication, constant updating. It's, you know, this is kind of a perception that it's a non-instructional spend. If we do bring a communications person back, we're looking at really maximizing our student, our money being used in the instructional capacity. So it's not a student-facing position, you know, so that's one of the cons that we have there. You know, but having an in-house communication model is definitely, you know, more cost-effective than if we have to hire a firm to do communications. So, you know, there's a lot of things to consider there. But, you know, just in considering communication as a whole, it's really important now that we have so many social media outlets out there that we do have a clear communication plan. What are we going to use to communicate to people? Who is going to do that communication? Where staff should be looking to communicate if they need to communicate a need to us, and where our families can look to communicate those needs to us as well.
Thank you. Joanne Rue?
Yes. Okay. Love this, that we have something concrete. This is fantastic. I especially liked on page 16, who you contact next. I love knowing who the chain of command is when I'm going to talk to someone, so that's very nice that we have something like that so people know who they should be talking to first, next, then. I love that. The part about social media, and I lost my page, but it said something about that it shouldn't, it should not be a primary source of information. It is for lots of people in our community, and we are not controlling the narrative. And so I don't know that we need necessarily a communications director, but we need someone because, like, the people who you listed, Brandy and Brett and Missy, that's not part of their job, really. I mean, we're making it part of their job, but I'm sure Missy could fill her day with lots of other things that have nothing to do with Facebook if we took that away from her. And I think a person who can do social media communications doesn't necessarily have to be someone with one of the higher salaries. You know, like there are entry-level communication type people that could do a really fantastic job with this. I know back when I was in the classroom, each school had like point people for the Beloit Daily News too. The year that I did it, I made sure that the Beloit Daily News was in our school every single month, and we made the front page every month for something good. And so, like, I don't know if we still have those kind of things happening, but that would be maybe something that we could encourage schools to do as well. And I don't know, like even at the building level, like who is in charge of like Facebook posts for buildings? Maybe we could talk to them and have it be something where it's kind of a shared lift, maybe. Those are just my thoughts.
Thank you, Joanne. Any other board member questions? Megan Miller?
Thank you so much. I was curious to know, okay, so first of all, so Joanne, I love the idea of just, like, it's like many hands make light work. I mean, just being efficient, like within our building, but in a way that doesn't put people over capacity. I think it's fantastic. I was curious about, it surprised me to hear you say that it was more cost effective to have somebody in-house. And so here's what I'm wondering. In the spirit kind of what Joanne was just saying, how do we spread things out in a way that doesn't overwhelm people? It's certainly like much more authentic to have like somebody in the school be like, hey, look at all the great stuff we're doing, but also have somebody who's like a professional, like manage that social media narrative, et cetera. Could we, like, I guess, so what, for me, it seems like it would make sense to like work out some kind of a third party contract, because then there's not like benefits and things like that. Like, would people be open to exploring, I don't know if it would be like a formal RFP or not, but just we could do that process to say, take this really thorough plan that you've put together and say, like, here are the spots that we feel would best be served by like somebody with professional expertise, and put together a sort of like a package where we could say, here's what we can reasonably manage in-house, here's what we would benefit from somebody's professional expertise. I would be interested just to see the cost on that versus like an in-house position.
Carol Fox?
Okay, well, as far as the position is concerned, $4.5 million, just want to say. And then we just found out that the budget, the busing is going to cost us $500,000 more, so make that $5 million. So we have to work on figuring ourselves out as a smaller district and figuring out how we can utilize our people in different ways. Is kind of an important process. We kind of also are kind of dumping jobs on people just because that's where it goes, but we need to figure out better ways to do that. As far as the communication plan, it's a really, really good start. It's something that we seriously need, and I think it's excellent. My concern is the implementation plan, and not just the administration, but the board. I think we need to sit down at some point and talk about what needs to be there, because we need goals that are active and measurable goals, and we need some better strategies. I mean, the strategies are kind of goals. It's like we want to cultivate, strengthen, the school district of Beloit community to engage them in the district vision. And my question is, how are we going to do that? I mean, what strategy? That's not really a strategy. We need to come up with ideas of what we're going to do as a district, as administrators, as board members. We talked, and that plays into some of the referendum conversations. Dr. Anderson was mentioning some of those things. We will, as a board, go to every school and, have a meeting and whatever, but we need to sit down and come up with some strategies about how we're going to do some of these things. The chain of command and some of those other things that are in here are excellent, but we really need to plan how we want to communicate also within that.
Thank you. Amy Levy, and then Mr. Hankins.
I really like the idea of comparing cost and benefits of having an in-house person versus having a reputable third party to handle our communications. I think in our district, like many others, communications is so critical, especially with the challenges that we face. We want to make sure that we're speaking with one voice, that the information is timely and accurate. And I'm sure that people are doing the best they can, but the way it has been described to me of having several people involved in the community is like having 17 people trying to drive a car at the same time. And I think a crash is imminent, and that is definitely not what we need. So I think it would be prudent to move expeditiously to either get an in-house person or to work with a reputable third-party contractor that can provide our communication needs.
Thank you. Mr. Hankins?
Thank you. And piggybacking on Mrs. Levy, to me, there's two sides. Another side of this is there's technical communication that comes out. Information that, facts that need to be shared. But in a part of that, and it's not a novel idea, is the PR part of it. And that person, the PR person, needs to know our community, our district, and massage, I like the word you used, massage earlier, Board President, massage that information to the right sources and how to work it, and working with the administration at Keck to make sure what we're putting out is what we want to say, and to know how to go to that and to represent us in certain functions. It doesn't always have to be the superintendent, but I think in-house is great, where that person works directly with administration, but that person also needs to know our district and our community resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. Any other, Ms. Miller?
Thank you so much, Mr. Hankins. I appreciate what you're saying. And this is where my mind went, because I think you and I are on the same page at first, and as I was looking this over, it's like it has to be in-house. But if we're going to hire an in-house person for not a huge amount of money, we are asking way too much of someone who's maybe fresh out of college, who maybe doesn't. And that's where if we are able to handle it, if we can make the budget work, I think some of column A, some of column B, you're still going to have the superintendent or whoever's in charge of whatever thing, building a very close, personal, relationship instead of knowledge and institutional knowledge, right, with a third party. I just feel like in reality, we're not going to hire another Monica at this point. We just don't have it in the budget. So I 100% agree with everything you said, and because I agree with you, that's why I think we got to do kind of somebody from the outside, maybe a little on the inside, right? Right. But yeah, same page.
Thank you. Any other board member questions or comments? Dr. Milat, thank you for putting this together at this time. Do you want board members to email you feedback or set up meetings with you? How would you like to proceed with this?
Either is absolutely fine. Keep in mind it is a draft, and on the page that it says with the board, that's mostly blank with that intent because it's a draft. Yeah. Either way, you can email me, call me.
Okay.
Make a meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the efforts that you and the administration have put forth in this. And speaking of communications, I am really excited about our next item. Mrs. Shope, Board Secretary Shope called me the other day and shared a little bit of information. So this item is a monthly board newsletter, and the purpose of this is to discuss having a board newsletter. The background is, this discussion is to determine if the board is interested in having a monthly newsletter that community members and families could sign up and receive via email. The newsletter would also be emailed to staff. This could be a great way to do outreach to keep the community and families up to date on many district and board topics, such as a vice president stat chat that could be a status update on the past couple of meetings for the month, an area for updates on the literacy initiative, updates on superintendent search, a referendum information when the board decides to go to referendum, president's short message. I like that you say short. Maybe a school highlight or something great that occurred, because there's always great things occurring. Highlighting the CTE program and certificates that students are receiving, and much, much more. Mrs. Schultz, before I open this up to board members for questions and comments, did you want to add how you came up with this?
Just that this is the kind of thing that we pick up when Donna and I go to our conference, the WASA conference, twice a year, or even when we go to the meetings, we meet with our CISA 2 counterparts 4 times a year, twice at the conferences and then twice other times of the year. And we all share different ideas and things that we do and ask questions of each other, like, how do you do this and how do you do that, and stuff. And this was one of the ideas that came up. We did like what they called speed dating for topics. And we sat at tables and went from table to table for like an hour, hour and a half, every 10 or 15 minutes. And this was one of the topics that kind of came up for communications, and people were talking about doing newsletters for their boards, and that community members sign up or whoever. And I just kind of took the ball and rolled with it and threw some ideas. You know, Donna and I talked about some different ideas, and then I kind of brainstormed some other ideas, and then I called up President Johnson and said, what would you think of this? And started giving her some of the ideas that I'd come up with, and she was like, I think this is great. So that's why it's on the agenda.
And of course, one of my first questions was, would we need new software for this? And how much would that cost? And the answer was no. So we have in-house talent right here before us. So is there any Megan Miller?
Yeah, I agree. It's a fantastic idea. I think, I would say as a parent who receives, like a weekly principal email, like from, like Fruzen, like our principals do a fantastic job. And so, there's already highlights we could probably draw from, work smarter, not harder there. So as I was looking over the list, I had a couple of things. I think stat chat might just be confusing language, because I think when a lot of us hear stat, we think statistics, but I love that idea. I think it's wonderful. Sorry to be nitpicky. A couple of things that I thought we could even add to the list would be, advertising volunteer opportunities. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, hey, I'd love to, whatever this, I don't know. I don't need to elaborate on that, I'm sure. Even quick polls, just to get quick feedback from people, or if, in a timely way, if we know, for example, there's a food service item. I know Board Chair Hankins, you guys had a really good discussion last time around about some of the Fund 50 pieces. So if there's something timely coming up for a board meeting, getting a little bit quick kind of pulse check, kind of feedback piece. I think something we hear about constantly, no matter how wonderful of a job Ms. Elwood does, and she does a wonderful job of getting all of our budget things out there transparently, and it's accessible on the website and all these things. I hear all the time, we don't know where money is spent, and we don't understand, how these, how is it that you guys don't have this money when I looked up online that you guys get this money. And it's totally understandable, because it's super confusing. So what a great opportunity to do just a quick little, budget snapshot. It could even, because it's a board newsletter, could even, reflect, here's what's coming up on our finance report, and just a quick little tidbit kind of thing. So I don't want to put any more onus on our administration. They're already doing a great job and spending, I'm sure, way too much time, putting these board reports together. So just little digestible pieces, something that would be easy to kind of rinse and repeat. But I think really that was just a couple things that came to mind when I was looking this over. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Mrs. Fox?
I think it's a great idea too. There's days I wonder if we should have our own Facebook page, but
Can I weigh in?
No, just a joke. I think there needs to be board communication definitely to the community. I think it needs to go to the staff as well. And I think that one of the things that does need to be on there is committee upcoming agenda items, right? We're discussing such and such a policy at the policy meeting. If you have any input, email us or come to the meeting kind of thing. We've had a couple of times where it was the cell phone policy, right? We had a cell phone policy, and then all of a sudden people are showing up and saying, well, we're working on a cell phone policy. It's like, okay, we got to communicate better about some of those kinds of things. But so, yeah, I think it's a really good idea. But upcoming board topics and agendas and that kind of thing also needs to be in there.
Any other board members? Mr. Hankins?
Thank you very much. As Dr. Anderson has been very diligent about, and to me, they're very invaluable, the weekly updates he sends out on Sunday or whatever day. I mean, things that are coming up, it's like a week in review coming up. And those kind of quick snapshots, I think, is what we're talking about, but to the public. It's just not detailed, it's just a snapshot. And I think it's very, very cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members? Go ahead.
I guess I took this for granted in my brain, but I'll just say it out loud. This would be available in Spanish as well. Awesome, thank you.
So, Mrs. Shope, it looks like we have our work cut out for us, and we can start drafting our first board newsletter. Thank you.
Sounds good to me. I just need input from the board.
Okay, we will work on it. Our next agenda, no.
Dan's all excited.
Our next agenda item is the consent agenda. Item 7B was already previously removed. Typically, there is no separate discussion of the items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item or items will be removed from the general order of business and considered in their normal sequence on the agenda. Do any board members wish to have any of the consent agenda items removed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Carol Fox. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our next agenda item is the Human Resources Committee Report, Exhibit A. Are there any open session questions on Exhibit A? Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. Bear with me while I pull this slide up. Unless there is something I'm missing, I'm a little concerned because at first blush, it looks like we are stripping the leadership at Merrill to move it to Robinson. And I'm wondering, where does that leave Merrill? Specifically, the interim principal, I just want to confirm that there is a principal licensure.
Dr. Malat or Executive Director Almendarez?
So upon being assigned to the position, the district does have the board sign off for DPI to issue that emergency license for Ms. Hill.
So since licensure is not already in place, which there was no need for it to be, because the individual was operating as a dean, I want to be clear about that. Will there be someone acting as a dean at Merrill?
There will not be someone acting as a dean. However, both the former Merrill principal and dean are still providing support to Merrill.
So several concerns. One, I'm not comfortable with stripping resources from one building to support another and leaving the initial building with less resources that are going to the second building. And two, I'm not thrilled about asking our administrators to support 2 buildings. It sounds like you said that the principal and the dean, currently at Merrill, if they move to Robinson, would still be supporting Merrill?
Well, essentially, it's not as though they're not going to be there to provide support to the person who is there and wrapping up any loose ends, but they're not going to have dual reporting. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. Is the way I describe this situation, am I off? Am I missing something? Or again, are we stripping the leadership from Merrill to send to Robinson and leaving Merrill with less resources? So Merrill will have an interim principal without previous principal licensure. And a question embedded in that is, if you don't have a previously established principal licensure, will this individual be able to do evaluations, or is someone from Keck coming to do that? And do I have any of this wrong in my understanding?
So I want to clarify when we say stripping resources from Merrill. Yes. So we were very mindful in how we went about the process. As you know, or you may know, there is a significant number of students at Robinson versus those who are enrolled in Merrill. So there's a lot smaller enrollment at Merrill. And so it was important for us to establish some stability at Robinson, not at the expense of Merrill, but Ms. McAllister has done an amazing job at stabilizing Merrill, at creating processes and procedures that allows for someone to be able to come in and continue that great work that she has already established at Merrill without it being as much of a disruption as it would be to not have leadership in place at Robinson for the time being.
And then final question, I believe, and then a comment. I believe I heard earlier that this was until the end of the year. Is this until the end of the year, or if these placements go through, at least the leadership team at Robinson would be there moving forward into next year as well?
So our goal is to have consistency. So if we need to move into the upcoming school year with the same team, then that is something that we will assess. But right now, again, the priority was to stabilize the building with staff from a building that was already stabilized.
Okay, so consistency at Robinson. And then to my colleagues, I'm going to make a statement in no way meant to curtail discussion, but when we're done discussion, as a professional courtesy, I would like to have 2 separate motions if we get to that, so that the position, the principal and dean position proposed at Robinson and the interim principal position at Merrill could just be separate. And of course, board members can make whatever motion you would like. I am just asking, when it comes time for a motion, that those be separated out. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Megan Miller?
Thank you so much. So in Dr. Millett's update, we talked about, and I think you just reiterated, Ms. Almondar, is that the 2 transfer positions are not intended to be permanent, and I'm just wondering why there's not the interim on the position. So for example, under the assignment column for Ms. Hill, it's got interim principal. Why not interim principal and interim dean for the transfers?
Because these individuals are already principals and deans, and the person that has interim in front of the title is not currently a principal. So it's just a transfer from one building to another.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because I want to make sure that we're being, I guess just compliant with, posting positions and things like that. And that's why I wanted to clarify. I'm just wondering too, are there deans or others in the district who do have principal licenses that could step into that role? And the reason that I'm asking, and I don't know if this has to be a closed session thing, is I don't know Ms. Hill. I'm sure they're wonderful. In the past, we've tried to not put administrators in administrative positions without licenses. And so, if this has to be a closed session discussion, let me know, because I'm a little uncomfortable, I guess, supporting somebody without the licensure.
So it's kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg. So we cannot ensure her licensure, her principal license, unless she is going into a role for which she would require that emergency license. So the board approval will allow the board president to sign off on the application for that license.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm wondering if there's somebody who does not have to be emergency licensed, like who works in the district, that can step into that role. It sounds like you've put a lot of thought into the plan for the piece from Merrill to Robinson, moving that leadership team. I want to make sure we're doing our due diligence to Merrill, that we have a currently licensed administrator there.
Absolutely, and that's a great question. And yes, we did look at the staff that we currently have throughout the district. The greatest consideration, aside from capability, was also what was the least disruptive to the environment. So, for example, moving the dean from Todd when we have an interim principal there would have been more destabilizing. So we did give great thought to how do we go about filling this role, because we want to make sure that Merrill also has resources available to them. How do we fill this role, creating the least? Because no matter where you move somebody from, there's going to be some disruption, but what was the least disruptive? And at the time, that was the option that made the most sense to us and was least disruptive.
Thank you. Before we continue, I will entertain a motion to extend the meeting.
So moved.
Is there
Second.
a motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Megan Miller. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Mrs. Almendarez, how many deans I know last year the board approved 6 dean positions. How many do we actually have?
So we have 4.5. We never, 3.5. We never hired Converse and we never hired Robinson's dean.
Okay. And do
Are
you-
there any deans that have a principal's license?
Yep, as I mentioned before, when we looked at that possibility, because of the structure in that building, it would have been more of a disruption.
Dr. Malat?
Ms. Hill has completed all of her principal work and has submitted her license to the state.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
Do we know the enrollment for Merrill and Robinson?
Ms. Beavers was kind enough to send an update, so I want to pull on that to give you the most recent calculations. Merrill 179. Yes. $476.
Thank you. Any other board member questions? Brian, is your...
No question. I move approval of the 4/21/2026 employee recommendations, Exhibit A.
I'll second that.
I would like to make an amendment to approve the employee recommendations A for 421 minus the principal and dean, the proposed principal and dean position at Robinson and the interim principal position at Merrill.
Second?
Okay, so the original motion to approve was made by, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Brian Nichols, seconded by Carol Fox, and an amendment offered by Amy Levy to remove the proposed positions at Merrill and Robinson, and that was seconded by Megan Miller. Okay, awesome.
Could we have a roll call vote on the amendment, please?
Certainly. So we are voting on the, oh, I'm sorry. And first, we're going to vote on the amendment. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment?
Yeah, no, sorry, you're fine. Just discussion, if that's okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify to my colleagues that, voting on the amendment doesn't stop us from voting on the entirety of the exhibit. And I think, as Ms. Levy said, as a professional courtesy, that is why I seconded the motion. I'm in favor of honoring the wishes of our colleague. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Mrs. Schultz?
And I just want to clarify that we are, the amendment motion was to remove both the principal and dean positions from Robinson, the proposed positions, and the proposed interim principal at Merrill, correct? All three?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Joanne Rue?
Aye.
Brian Nichols?
Nay.
Megan Miller?
Aye.
Amy Levy?
Aye.
Tom Hankins?
Nay.
Carol Fox?
Nay.
And Tia Johnson?
Aye.
A motion carried 4-3.
So we are now voting on Exhibit A minus those 3 positions, and then I will entertain a motion for those 3 positions. Does anyone request a roll call on this? Is there any other discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion for the administrative positions at Robinson and Merrill?
I move approval of the positions at Robinson and Merrill as on the Exhibit A.
I'll second.
Many mics on. Motion by Carol Fox, seconded by Brian Nichols. Mrs. Schultz, right now we are just voting on the administrative positions at Robinson and Merrill.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion here before we vote? Mrs. Levy?
I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Any other questions or comments? When you're ready, Mrs.
Can I just re-clarify who made the motion and the second for the 3 administrators?
Carol Fox and Brian Nichols.
Thank you. Okay. Carol Fox?
Aye.
Tom Hankins?
Aye.
Amy Levy?
Nay.
Megan Miller?
Aye.
Brian Nichols?
Nay. Nay. Aye, sorry. Sorry about that. I was looking at my,
It's his
I was
last
looking at my
night.
chicken scratching. That's what got me.
Okay, so just to clarify, that was an A? An aye? Joanne Rue?
Aye.
And Tia Johnson?
Aye.
I have that carrying 6-1.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is executive session. Typically, the board meets in closed session per state statutes listed below to discuss the items in this section of the agenda. The public is excused from this portion of the discussion. A motion may be made and a vote taken to convene the Board of Education into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent B of the Wisconsin State Statutes considering formal employee discipline / right to hearing pursuant to Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C of the Wisconsin State Statutes relative to employment, promotion, evaluation items, and Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent G of the Wisconsin State Statutes for conferring with legal counsel. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brian Fox, seconded by, oh my gosh, okay, it is late. Brian Nichols, and seconded by Carol Fox. Any other discussion? Mrs. Shope, when you're ready.
Joanne Rue,
Aye.
Brian Nichols,
Aye.
Megan Miller,
Aye.
Carol Fox,
Aye.
Tom Hankins, Amy Levy,
Aye.
and Tia Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. We're going into closed session for a discussion on handling of personnel matters and approval of closed session minutes. The Board of Education may reconvene to public session in order to take any action, if necessary, on items discussed in closed session. Thank you.